Hey, so we're going to work on the paraphrasing and summarizing curriculum instruction. We're working on identifying details when given the main idea and topic. So what we're going to do is we're going to work on our advanced organizer, and we're going to review the purpose of our last lesson. So in the last lesson, we learned how to identify the parts of a paragraph in a list so that we could be ready to paraphrase today. We're going to spend some time in our advanced organizer reviewing some information. We're going to review a bunch of processes. So today we're going to identify details when given the main idea of a topic. So Josie, what are we going to do?
Identify details when given the main idea and topic.
Beautiful. So I can identify details related to a topic and a main idea. So what are we going to be able to do?
I can identify details related to a topic and main idea.
Beautiful. So we will continue with doing some review. And so the purpose and our expectation of today's lesson is that we're going to work some more with understanding topics and main ideas and details. What we're going to do is just to cement our understanding in the parts of a paragraph. So our expectations and our job today is that we will listen carefully, we'll take notes, and we'll participate in the discussion. And later we'll be completing a worksheet together. So we'll have to participate in that part of it. Okay? Any questions?
Nope.
Okay, so we're going to move on to some reviewing of what we learned in previous lessons. We're going to need materials. We're going to need what?
Pencil,
paper, and we have an organizer. Okay? Whoops. Okay, outcome for today's lesson, we're going to do this. This is one that Mr. Kane did by himself already. Working on a learning sheet. We'll finish this together. Sports build characters, and then I give 3 details. This is what we're going to be doing as a group today. Okay, so we're going back into the review section. Paraphrasing. What do you think paraphrasing means? What do you remember? Putting information into your own words. So what do you think it is?
Putting information into your own words.
Yep, so if I were to paraphrase a sentence, I'm going to think about that sentence and I'm going to put it into my own words. A synonym, do you remember what a synonym is? It is something that has the same meaning to the original word. So if I said something is very hot, it is a synonym to hot. It could be warm, it could be a fire, right? So there's different words that mean the same, okay? So those are synonyms, so it has the same meaning, okay? And we have 3 characteristics of a good paraphrase, and 3 characteristics are, it must be what?
Correct.
It must be correct, it must be in?
Words.
What kind of words?
In your own words.
In our own words, and it must make
sense.
Must make sense. Okay? Here is our process for paraphrasing a phrase. Our first thing is we got to put the phrase in a sentence. So what are we going to do first?
Put the phrase in a sentence.
Beautiful. Then we're going to think of synonyms to put in place.
We're going to think of synonyms.
So synonyms, remember, those are those words that are similar. They're the same. Okay? And then we're going to check that it makes sense and that things are the same. So when I'm paraphrasing, I'm going to make sure that it is making sense. So I'm not going to put in a word that wouldn't make any sense with it. When we're paraphrasing a sentence, so this was paraphrasing a phrase, so like it's hot, it's cold, okay? Paraphrasing a sentence, first we're going to break the sentence into parts. So what are we going to do first?
Break the sentence into parts.
Break it into parts, okay? Then we're going to find a paraphrase and the other parts of the sentence, and we're going to paraphrase them, okay? Next we're going to look for synonyms, and then we're going to check that it makes sense with our new word, okay? So we're going to look for what?
Looking for
synonyms, yep, which is things that are the same. We're going to check to make sure that it makes sense with our new words. Okay. We have some definitions we still got to keep reviewing. We have a topic. A topic is usually what?
1 or 2 words that tell what a paragraph is about, often in title.
Yep, so it's 1 or 2 words that kind of gives us some information. Okay, so it's usually within the title. So if I'm talking about football, topic would be football. If I'm talking about dance, topic's usually about dance. Main idea is what?
A big idea, the paragraph is about similar.
So it has summarized information. So it's taking everything that's in the story or making it smaller. Okay? And then a detail is information related to the main idea. So it's something that helps us get more information on that main idea. Okay? This is our last part for reviewing, and we're going to get actually talking into our identifying of details. Okay? So what are the parts of a paragraph? So as we learned the other day, every well-written paragraph has several parts. It has a topic, a main idea to which all the details are related, and has several other details. Just like we broke down a sentence, we're going to break down a paraphrase to make it easier when we're paraphrasing, okay? So we have what? We have a
topic, main idea, and detail.
So we always need a topic, main idea, and a detail when we're going to have parts of a paragraph, okay? We also have to have a reason, okay? What's our reason? So our reason is that when we become a good reader, we need to find topics, main ideas, and details in the paragraph. And we're going to have to turn those into our own words. Then we're going to move into doing the same thing with the next paragraph and the next words. Okay? We're going to break down long passages and turn them into smaller chunks. And once we have those smaller chunks, it's going to make it really easier for us to understand. So what we're going to really do here is we're going to use our topics, main ideas, and details to make our paragraphs into smaller chunks. Okay? Now we're going to actually get into the fun part of doing the lesson. We got a review done. So we're going to have our learning sheet, which is this right here, which you're going to follow along with. And then I have my version, okay? And so what we're going to do is to help you get ready with the main ideas, what I'm going to have you do is follow along with what I am doing, okay? So we're going to be working today on identifying details that are related to a topic, a main idea, just like we identified the other day. So we have diagram for parts of a paragraph. And so you can look at that too. This is the different parts of a paragraph. We already have a topic and a main idea are going to be given to us throughout this. Okay? So just like we identified the details of an ice cream sundae yesterday, I want us to figure out what we're going to do for this. So I'll be working on the diagram. At the top box is the one where the paragraph may be written. So in the center box is where the main idea will be written, and the details will be at the bottom box at the end. Okay? So now you can learn by watching. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you the details, and I'm going to identify the first topic and the main idea on the learning sheet, okay? So I want you to write this down with me, and you're going to copy a couple things for the next couple minutes here. So here's what I might think if I was a student working on this learning sheet, okay? So I'm going to take my topic right here on my sheet, and I'm going to write on the top, and I'm going to read to myself sports, okay? And I'm going to say that, what is it about? The topic is about sports, and sports build characters. So next I'm going to think, well, what does that mean? So that means that they're participating in sports builds characters in people. Sports are things that are physical activities. Characters are made up of qualities, right? To make a person. So like honesty and integrity, right? Those things are what we use. So next I'm going to ask myself, so if I was a student, I'd ask myself, if I were to write a paragraph about this topic and main idea, what details would I write about? And how would I relate them, okay? So what type of character does participating in sports build? So I'm going to think, well, I learned about teamwork by participating in soccer, okay? So if I was in soccer, I'd think like that. In other words, I learned not to be self-centered. So I know that I have to share the ball with my other teammates, right? So what I'm going to write, kind of like what we have right up here when I have my sample already done. Okay? Soccer builds teamwork. So this is what it's going to end up looking like on here. So I would write on my sheet, soccer builds teamwork. Okay? Next, I'm going to go to my next detail. And for my next one, we're going to say weightlifting has made me push my limits. Every time I lift weights, I try to lift a little bit more. So every time I lift weights, I try to get better, okay? So what I'm going to write down on detail number 2 is that weightlifting teaches me how to push limits. So for my next one, weightlifting teaches me how to push my limits. So I'm going to write that down, okay? And then in my third one, as you can see, I crossed something off. I crossed off the word checkers, okay? And the reason I crossed this off is because I had a thought, okay? And I thought, okay, one more sport that helps me become a character or become a better person. Let's see, how about a game of checkers, right? I thought that maybe checkers helps me. And then I think, is that a physical activity that builds character? No. No, it's not. And so I think you're right. It is not a very physical activity. It doesn't involve a whole lot of movements. You do stuff with your hand every once in a while, but it really doesn't do a whole lot, okay? So it's not parallel. It doesn't relate to the main idea. It just doesn't really work. So I crossed it off, and I thought about another sport, and I like to ski, okay? So skiing helps me to build character because I have to push myself to learn more every time. So I wrote, skiing involves constant learning, Okay? So I had to write these, and I think to myself, yep, skiing gives me exercise that I do. Okay? It has fun stuff, and it involves movement for my whole body, just like other sports. So it is a characteristic. Okay? And I know that all three of these characteristics, soccer builds teamwork, weightlifting teaches me how to push my limits, and skiing involves constant learning. Those are all characteristics. Okay? That help me build to become a better person. Notice that all of our details we've written are complete sentences. But sometimes it's okay, however, to not have that. Just have one or two words. Okay? So now this is the we do part. Okay. Learn by sharing. Okay? We are going to learn by sharing. So you are going to work on sharing sheet A in my room. Okay? And I want you to write your name on top. So, can you read? So what I'm going to have you do is, I want you to listen to how I do this, and I want you to work with me on it, okay? So, I want you to read the topic. So, you say, my room.
My room.
Okay? Main idea, I love the way my room looks.
I love the way my room looks.
Okay? And then, we're going to define the topic. So, my room, which means what? What does my room mean? That means
It's her room.
well, her room, but it's your room, which is what? It's where you do what?
Where I sleep.
Where you sleep, right? So we're going to define the main idea is going to say, I love the way my room looks, okay? So right here, you got it already. I love the way my room looks. It's already built for us, okay? So that makes sense to our topic. So now I'm going to think of a detail related to rooms, and I'm going to write it in the box. So what's one detail related to your room?
I have a vanity.
I have a vanity. So then you're going to write a detail is, I have a vanity. Okay? Then, what I need to do is figure out a second detail. So what's the second detail going to be? So we've already did this. We thought of a detail, we wrote the detail. Let's check if that detail makes sense though first. So does it make sense that you like your room because you have a vanity in it?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So let's go to the next one. So detail number 2 would be what?
I like my room because it's blue.
I like my room because it's blue. So you like the color. So you thought of a detail, you wrote the detail. Now you're going to check to make it sense. So I like my room because it is blue. Beautiful. So what's a third detail?
I like it because I have a cool lampshade.
I have a cool lamp. Yep, or I have a cool lampshade. And so that would make sense because you think you have something that's cool in it. Okay? I like that. Now if you said, I like my room because there's a trampoline in it, that maybe wouldn't make sense because most people don't have trampolines in their room. But if you were able to explain it, maybe. Right? But it has to make sense. I like my room because there's a car in it. Well, that wouldn't make sense. So make sure it makes sense, okay? So you got that done. Beautiful. Now what we're going to work on is learn by practicing. You're going to try it yourself, okay? And what I'm going to do while you're practicing this is while you're completing it, I'll give you 1 point for each one you get right, okay? And so we'll have a total of 6 points you can get because we have 2 worksheets.
Okay.
And that's okay. So I want you to try it yourself. I want you to read the topic and main idea, define the topic and main idea, think of related details, write the details, and then check the related details. So what that means is when you're ready, I want you to identify the details on your own for the first 2 main ideas. So remember, read the topic and main idea. Then we're going to define it. Then we're going to think of the details. Then we're going to write the details. Okay?
Okay.
I want you to check to make sure that they make sense, okay?
Okay.
When I finish, and I've already kind of hit this part, when I finish, we're going to get 1 point for each detail that you get correct that makes sense following this guideline, okay?
Okay.
And before you start, you have your name on top, then you're good to go. That's how you do it. So, my future. Okay, that's your topic, my future. What's the main idea?
3 things I'd like to accomplish.
So what are 3 things that I like to accomplish? So what's one thing that you like to accomplish in your future?
Gymnastics.
Okay, what about gymnastics?
I like to accomplish back handsprings.
So back handsprings in gymnastics. Beautiful, that's a fantastic detail.
find which word says
Okay.
bad and excellent. You can do the rest yourself, okay? I'm gonna have you read those to me, so we can read them together.
Okay, so let's go back on our thing. So we read it, we defined it, we thought of it, we wrote it. Let's check that it makes sense.
Okay.
So, topic, my future. What about my future? There are 3 things I'd like to accomplish. Okay. Detail number 1 is I like to accomplish backhanded spring. Okay. Beautiful. What's the second thing that I would like to accomplish?
I would like to accomplish dance.
So, what about dance?
To be like a professional dancer.
So, one thing that I'd like to accomplish, to be a professional dancer. Okay? So that's good. Because if you just said dance, you're not really saying what about dance, okay? You want to be a little more specific, but you're doing very good. You're giving some good details. Okay. Okay, and then our last detail is what? What's the third detail for?
I would like to accomplish to get better at reading.
Thank you.
To get better at reading.
Okay, to get better at reading. So you're going to write, to get better at reading. Okay, so in my future, there are 3 things I'd like to do. I'd like to accomplish a backhand spring. I like to be a professional dancer, and I like to be better at reading. Okay, so beautiful. We're going to do this one more time. Oops, here it is. Our last learning sheet. So, you're going to identify the details, going through a process again. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
we're going to read the topic and main idea. Can you have you do that for me?
Mm-hmm. Books. My 3 favorite books.
Okay, I want you to think of a detail for your 3 favorite books. Okay, and then I want you to write those details.
Okay.
So, what's one detail about my 3 favorite books?
It is adventurous.
Adventurous, that's a good one. Being adventurous, that really gives a good detail. So, it gives a good piece of information.
Okay.
Okay, what's the second one about our book? So that makes sense. Yep, the topic's my book, main idea, 3 favorite books. Detail, it's adventurous. What about it? Another detail? What's another detail about your favorite books? Do you like...
I like fiction.
Fiction, yeah, good. The type, if it's real or fake, fiction or nonfiction. So that gives a good detail about your book. Okay, and then our very last thing is one last detail. So what's one last detail about your favorite book?
Well, actually,
Your 3 favorite books.
It's long. It's a chapter book.
Okay, so you like details, you like chapter books. So not picture books, you like books that are chapter books. Okay, and so I will, name on top, beautiful. I'll collect these on up, and we're going to just do a quick end to our lesson. Okay, so we already know how we're going to get graded. Here we go. So review, what did we learn today? We learned how to identify details. So what did we learn?
We learned how to identify details.
Beautiful. What are parts of the paragraph that we learned? So we learned...
Topic, main idea, and details.
We learned about topic, main idea, and details. Okay? So, lastly, we're going to preview what we're going to do for our next lesson. So what we're going to do tomorrow, or the next day. Ready? During our next lesson, you may practice thinking about details related to the main idea again. So we'll cover this some more. And then we'll also learn on how to identify details within a paragraph. So that's what we're going to do for tomorrow. Okay? So thank you for learning about this and for working on our lesson.